Judith Maria and welcome to SG Global News. From the rising concerns over the disappearance of a Colombian priest who has been missing for about 21 days to the Sri Lankan government's tribute to Cardinal Malcolm Ranjith on his 50th anniversary of his priestly ordination, we have many stories to cover. For nearly 3 weeks, Colombian authorities have been searching for Father Carlos James Guerrero, a 30-year-old Augustinian friar who have vanished on June 17th, but they are yet to determine the possible reasons for his disappearance. The growing concern over his whereabouts intensified after the shocking discovery of the bodies of 8 Christian missionaries who had disappeared without a trace in April, sending tremors of alarm throughout the country. Colombian priest Father Carlos Saul James Guerrero has been missing for 21 days according to a July 9th report by Christian Today. The priest, who belongs to the Order of St. Augustine, was last seen in the town of Tibu, located in the conflict-ridden region of Notre de Santander. His sudden disappearance has sparked concern within the Catholic Church and local communities. A public appeal was issued with church officials urging everyone with information to come forward. The outlet stated that authorities are yet to release official details or updates on the investigation process. Father Guerrero was known for his work in rural parishes often affected by violence and displacement. Reportedly, he had been scheduled to attend a pastoral meeting the day he went missing but never showed up. In a statement shared with media, local church leaders expressed deep worry, calling his disappearance alarming and painful. They emphasized the increasing risks faced by clergy working in volatile areas. Human rights group has also raised concerns. The priest's vanishing highlights broader insecurity in Colombia's border regions, often controlled by armed groups. Despite the growing pressure, law enforcement has not made any public statements. As of now, the whereabouts of the priest remain unknown, and the church continues its desperate plea for answers. The Vatican's Dicastery for the Doctrine of Faith issued a nihil obstat, meaning nothing stands in the way to the Marian devotion associated with the alleged apparitions of Virgin Mary on Mount Zivir near the village of Litmanova in northwestern Slovakia, which took place from 1990 to 1995. However, this approval was given without acknowledging the supernatural nature of the apparitions. The Dicastery of the Doctrine of Faith has sent a letter to the Archbishop of Postal of Byzantine Rite Catholics affirming the numerous spiritual blessings associated with Mount Zivir in Slovakia, the site of reported Marian apparitions that allegedly took place between 1990 and 1995 near a small village in Litmanova. In a letter addressed to the Archbishop Johannes Joseph Maxim, Archieparch of Prešov of Byzantine Rite Catholics, Cardinal Prefect Victor Manuel Fernandez responded to the Archbishop's request, which highlighted the countless sincere and profound confessions and conversions. The Cardinal expressed appreciation for the many spiritual fruits obtained by the pilgrims who continue to visit the site, even though the alleged apparitions ended 30 years ago. The letter signed by Cardinal Victor Manuel Fernandez responded to the Archbishop's request, which emphasized the widespread spiritual impact of the site. While the Vatican acknowledged the religious significance of the site and its role in fostering deep spiritual renewal, it refrained from confirming the supernatural nature of the alleged apparitions, a decision consistent with the Church's cautious approach to private revelations. Mount Zivir, located in Slovakia's remote region, became a point of intense devotion during the reported apparitions, with many pilgrims claiming to have received spiritual healing and guidance. The reported apparitions began on August 5, 1990, approximately 3 kilometers from a small mountain village of Litmanova in northern Slovakia, a community rooted in Byzantine Catholic tradition. The events involved 3 children, 11-year-old Itveka Karakova, 12-year-old Katka Keselova, and 9-year-old Mitko Keselka. During the apparitions, the Virgin Mary identified herself with the title Immaculate Purity. Even though the apparitions aren't recognized, the approval of the Marian devotion marks a significant step for the faithful in Slovakia, offering a clear endorsement of the site's ongoing religious and spiritual importance. On July 8th, Pope Leo XIV hosted Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky for a private audience at the papal residence of Castel Gandolfo. The discussion centered on the ongoing war in Ukraine and the urgent need to seek peace through dialogue.
Pope Leo XIV received Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in a private audience at the papal residence of Castel Gandolfo on Tuesday, July 8. According to a statement released by the Holy See Press Office, the Holy Father and the President discussed the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine and the urgent need for a just and lasting peace. The Pope expressed his sorrow for the victims of war and assured the Ukrainian people of his prayers and continued closeness. The Holy Father also encouraged efforts aimed at the release of prisoners and the recovery of children who had been separated from their families. He reiterated the Vatican's willingness to welcome representatives of both Ukraine and Russia to the Vatican for potential negotiations. In a press conference after the meeting, President Zelensky thanked the Pope and the Vatican for their support. He also stressed the urgent need to return Ukrainian children taken to Russia during the war. Zelensky also expressed hope that the Vatican would help set up a high-level meeting of leaders to end the war. Zelensky's visit to Rome is part of the 4th international meeting of the reconstruction of Ukraine to be held from July 10th to 11th, which will be attended by heads of the state and governments from 77 countries.
To mark the Catholic Church's Jubilee year, hundreds of pilgrims have journeyed to the Norwegian island of Selja to celebrate the feast day of Saint Sunniva, Norway's only official recognized female saint. On July 8, the feast day of the saint, Catholics from various countries arrived on Selja to honor the 9th century Irish princess whose martyrdom led to the establishment of Norway's first Benedictine monastery and later its first diocese.
A significant Catholic pilgrimage took place on Selja Island in Norway. Hundreds gathered to celebrate the feast of Saint Sunniva, the country's only female saint, as reported by the Catholic news agency on July 9, 2025. The occasion also commemorated 900 years since the transfer of her relics to Bergen in 1170. The religious procession formed part of the church's 2025 Jubilee celebrations. According to CNA, an estimated 450 faithful walked a 10-kilometer route from Stad municipality to the island, gathering for Mass among the stone remains of the 12th century Benedictine monastery. The event was organized by the Diocese of Oslo and supported by the Bishop of Trondheim. Participants came from across Norway and many were said to be first-time devotees. As noted by CNA, the ceremony reflected a growing spiritual revival, particularly among young participants. Saint Sunniva, believed to be Irish princess who had fled to Norway and died in exile, has been venerated since the 10th century. Selja Island later became one of the earliest non-Christian sites in Norway. According to CNA, the diocese described the journey of faith as a visible sign of the church's enduring presence in the country. Although Catholics remain a minority, the population has grown steadily in recent decades, driven by immigration and conversions.
The Sri Lankan government has issued a commemorative postal stamp in honor of Cardinal Malcolm Ranjith, recognizing his service to the nation and society on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of his priestly ordination. President Anurakkumara Dissanayake and Prime Minister Harini Amarasuriya took part in the felicitation ceremony organized by Archdiocese of Colombo.
The Sri Lankan government has honored Cardinal Malcolm Ranjith on his 50th ordination anniversary by releasing a commemorative postal stamp. Sri Lankan President Anurakkumara Dissanayake and Prime Minister Harini Amarasuriya jointly released a stamp on July 7th at a felicitation ceremony organized by the Archdiocese of Colombo. President Dissanayake stated that life of Cardinal Ranjith served an exemplary model in an era when the moral and spiritual values of society were in decline. The president stated that the cardinal was deeply engaged in a tireless mission to uphold social harmony and spiritual upliftment. He also pledged to deliver justice to the victims of the deadly Easter Sunday attacks of 2019. Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit was born in 1947. He was ordained a priest on June 29, 1975 at St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican by Pope Paul VI. In 2009, he was appointed the Archbishop of the Archdiocese of Colombo. A year later, on November 20, 2010, he was elevated to the rank of Cardinal by Pope Benedict XVI. He was a strong papabile in the 2025 Papal Conclave.
That's all for today. Until we meet again, God bless and thank you.